That's when I got stabbed. That's when I got stabbed. That's when I got stabbed.
That's when I got.
Did you have any nicknames growing up?
Ooh. Most people called me Carol.
Okay.
But my nickname was Cool C from back in the day.
Now,
Cool C.
Who called you Cool C? Like
All
people in the hood?
Yeah, all my friends in the hood. Cool C. That
Remember
name.
how it came about?
That name actually came about when I was up to no good. They would be like, "Uh-oh, Cool C here," you know.
Right.
So they said that I was mad cool, but if you got on my bad side, then they would also call me Carrie. Remember that movie Carrie?
Yeah,
with
Carrie. Yeah.
With a firework.
Yes.
Yeah, so those
so
were.
you got like a mean streak too.
Yeah, I did. Yes.
Got it. So where are you from?
Okay, so this is a mixture. I am from downtown, and I spent a little time in Parkside.
So in Camden, New Jersey.
Yes, in Camden. I apologize.
Okay.
Yes, but mostly from downtown.
Mostly from downtown. Do you a specific like section of downtown?
Yes, back in the day they used to call it 456, 4th Street, 5th Street, 6th Street.
Right.
So yeah, I lived on 4th and Chestnut, 3rd and Chestnut, and we also lived on 4th and Benson Street.
Okay.
That's where my grandma lived. So that was the central location on Benson Street. That was around from the courts right on West Street downtown where they used to have all those basketball tournaments back in the day.
Got it.
So that's the central location. So wherever we moved, grandma didn't move. So grandma was
there. Mm-hmm. Okay.
Yep. My parents were married really young.
Okay.
And my mom actually started doing drugs at a young age. I was in maybe kindergarten.
Okay.
When I remember the first of everything starting to fall apart.
Okay.
My father moved out. My mom.
So you remember before you...
Oh, I remember.
There was a time when you all lived together.
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Some people I interviewed, but like, nah, I can't remember.
Yeah, we lived together.
Okay.
We lived together. We lived out Centerville.
Okay. In Camden.
In Camden, and we had our house. My dad would go to work. He would come home. My mom was a stay-at-home mom.
Okay.
And
so was mine.
And so she remember back in the day. I was born in the 70s, 79. So like in the 70s, everybody smoked weed, right?
Right.
Everybody, weed was the thing to do.
Reefer, they call it.
Yeah, reefer and them joints,
right? Right.
So everybody smoked then. I had a few uncles who were the providers of the weed, and I remember very vividly when everything went down south.
Okay.
Because I'm not gonna name names, but my uncles, right? They were the ones who were selling the weed in the community, and I remember like yesterday when they came. They used to go to New York and get their stuff and come back, and I remember them saying, "We got something that I remember because I was young and I was home all the time. I wasn't in daycare." Okay. I remember them saying, "We got something that'll get you higher than weed," and all of them. So you got uncles who were riding around in their Cadillacs and their Adidas and fly with everything,
right,
to now full-fledged crackheads. They lost everything right before my eyes.
Wow.
And it was because they didn't know the effects of what this new thing was going to do to them, because they would smoke weed, they would sell their weed, they would smoke it. Like, There's nothing for you to sell this and do it. Like, they didn't understand what was going to happen to our community. So I remember it very vividly.
Looking back now that you're an adult, do you feel like that affected you?
Oh, yes.
How so?
Oh, where did we get started? Because of the crack epidemic, right? Because of the crack epidemic, my family split, right? My mom and my dad, he left. He tried to talk to my grandma, but it was so much unknown about my grandma, meaning my mother's mom, about it, saying, I think this is what she's doing. It just isn't adding up. Her behavior started changing. We know what happens with crackheads now, right?
Right.
But then it was like, wait, something is wrong. Like, I don't know. She's missing when I come home. The girls aren't being taken care of. Something's not right. And I guess everybody was in denial about it. So as a result, my dad said, you know what? I can't take it no more. I remember very vividly the day my dad left.
Really?
Oh, yeah. I remember very vividly. My dad came home from work and mom wanted money and he wasn't giving her money. And she took all of his clothes out because where we used to live, it was like a driveway. You had to go down and then it was a driveway for each of the houses. And she put all his clothes to the end of the driveway and lit them on fire. Like,
wow, like waiting to excel.
Like waiting. Let me tell y'all something. My mom was that chick.
What was her name?
She's Sylvia. She recently passed 2 years ago, but yeah.
Sorry to hear that.
Yeah, so she put all his clothes at the end of the driveway and she lit him on fire. And he was like, I gotta go. It was either that or he was going to snap, and my dad was...
Or whatever would have happened.
Or whatever would have happened. So he left and he went to my grandmom's. Well, not long after that, even though my mom was in her addiction, she still didn't play. Like, I don't understand. Well, my mom was also a strong woman. So
she was able to function.
She was able, but not really. She saw herself going down. So what she did was took me and my two siblings and she packed up our stuff and took us to our dad and was like, I can't do this. I'm not in the right space. You keep them.
Okay.
Which to me was the ultimate parental thing to do. I'm out here in these streets.
Y'all could have wound up in foster homes.
We could have ended up anywhere,
right?
So much stuff could have happened.
Right.
Yet she was like, I'm not right. And I know girls should grow up with their moms, but I'm not right. Like, I can't do this. So she dropped us off, and that's how we ended up at Parkside.
Okay.
Yeah. So 6th grade was hard. I got into a lot of trouble 6th and 7th grade.
Okay.
A lot.
6th and 7th grade.
Fighting, a lot of fighting. By the time, so it was weird. I moved 5th grade summer with mommy. By the time 7th grade came, because technically, even though we were going back and forth, right? When you like apply for like welfare and stuff, they put the dad on child support.
Right.
Even though on paper we were living with dad, it was still, how if you don't go get custody and it's just weird.
Yeah.
So we had to go to court. This is when they allowed the kids to come to court and we was in the judge's thing.
You remember this?
I remember. Judge Stein.
Okay.
Look, how do I remember his name?
His name, right?
Yeah. And we were in there and they asked us, you're old enough, who do you want to live with? Because
they asked you?
They asked us. They asked us because both of them were saying, Daddy was fighting like, wait, they've been living with me all these years. How I owe $50,000 in child support, like, but it wasn't on paper, so they couldn't prove it. They called us and we clarified it, but then they asked us, who do you want to live with? My two siblings said, I want to stay with mommy. They wanted to stay with mommy because you could do what you want to do.
Who's barred?
And it was always something that I was like, nah, I want to go with my dad. Like, so that was the first time that we split. 7th grade.
Okay.
7th grade. I was in 7th grade, which means my other sister was in 9th and my other sister was in 10th.
Okay.
So they really wanted to do what they wanted to do. They in high school,
Right.
So I stayed with my dad. They went with my mom.
Okay.
Now, I also played on the fact that I'm the only one here because now this is my dad, his wife, and their children, and me.
Okay.
I was the oldest in the house. Her kids were younger.
Okay.
So I would go back and forth downtown by myself, doing what I wanted to do. But my dad, he understood that I wanted to be with my sisters. I wanted to be with, so I was allowed downtown more than just on the weekends.
Right.
Like, literally, I don't want to be in here. I miss my mom. I'm going. And of course, he didn't want to be like, no, you can't see your mom, you know. So I would go back and forth a lot.
Okay.
By myself.
That was just your thing.
That was just my thing. So, 7th grade, I was going back and forth. 8th grade, I was going back and forth,
okay.
Which brings me to 8th grade, which is my life-changing experience.
So let's talk about that for a second.
Yeah.
When you say you did a lot of fighting, I want to point something out. You were actually good at it. You had hands. And people knew you had hands. Like, yeah, you don't want to mess with Cool C.
Yeah.
So,
I had a lot of anger. Can you see now why I was so...
And we don't know that growing up together. It's just like, yo, don't play with Carol.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I did get into it. Why? You would say you're actually good at it. No.
Some people were like, I used to fight a lot, but they used to lose a lot.
Yeah, no.
Me.
No. No.
Right?
No.
So,
no.
You don't have a lot of losses under your belt.
I don't think I have any, but that's a whole nother story. I ain't going, you know.
That's
but,
That's We're gonna let
No,
that
my
go.
sister used to beat me up when I was younger. They used to beat me up. So I got some L's.
Got it.
A lot of people don't know, me and Carol, Benjamin,
Okay.
Yogi and Cool C used to be written all over Hatch. And we was the biggest fighters, and Mr. Gilliam would come over the intercom like, Yogi and Cool C, see y'all in the bathroom so y'all can scrape y'all names off. He'd be like, what? What?
People looking like, what?
Right, he would come, Yogi and Cool C. We'd be like, oh my God. Like back of the bleachers, you know, Hatch had the balcony.
Right.
Our names would be on the chair. Mr. O'Gilliam.
Even though I fought a lot, I was never a bully or like a troublemaker. That wasn't my thing. I really liked people. Like,
okay.
So I never bullied people. I never, well, not that I remember. If I did, I'm sorry. Look, not that I
watching it.
Yeah.
I might feel some type of way.
Yeah.
Like, oh, she bullied me.
No, I don't remember. I really thought growing up that I was a protector.
Okay.
Like, you can ask a lot of our friends that were in our classes. I didn't allow my friends to make fun of them. No, we're not doing that. You're not going to do that. Won't you do that to somebody who's not scared?
Right.
That was a lot of my story.
Okay.
So if I did bully, I don't know and I don't remember.
Okay.
But in general, that wasn't my character.
I always tell people, the bully never remembers anyway. Even if they did bully. The bullied always remembers.
Right.
The bully doesn't remember.
Right.
Like, I got a bunch of stories.
Oh, that's a good take on that.
Right. Because
So-
the bully has bullied so many people. He
my
or she
God.
doesn't even remember everybody they bullied.
Seriously.
Not to say that you weren't
No.
bullied, but it's the bullied who
Right.
always remember.
Right.
Like
so
yesterday.
So if I bullied you, I really am sorry. I was going through a lot. Listen to my story.
Got it.
You know, but I really don't. I don't think I remember getting to a lot of fights for other people. A lot of my fights was fighting other people's battle. I did not like when people did stuff to people that couldn't defend themselves. Right. And you wouldn't do that to me. This particular incident.
Okay.
I had been fighting this girl back and forth. And she kept saying, well, I'm going to keep fighting you till I win. I'm like, I'm tired of beating you up. Like,
right,
it's not, you just forget, just take your L. Like, at some point, it should click in, you're not going to win.
Right.
But every time we saw each other, it was on site fighting. And the time before this particular incident, I was on my way to and I was fast, right? So I'm on my way to a party. I had my all white jeans set on, and I had to beat her up before the party. Like, come on, I'm trying to go to the house party, and you playing. You and your friends.
This wasn't even at school. This was
No, just in the hood.
Yeah.
Like, so now you and your friends and your sisters and them chasing me. Y'all can't catch me.
Right.
Like, so then we end up somewhere, and then I end up beating her up. But that was the time right before this time. My point is, we fought, I think, for a whole year.
So this wasn't an isolated incident.
No, this was not an isolated.
You knew this girl.
I knew her. She was fighting over a boy.
Okay.
He liked me. I liked him, but see, she was having sex with him.
Right.
That's not my fault, sweetheart. That's not my fault that you done dropped the drawers.
Right.
Don't got nothing to do with me.
Okay.
So now he all up on me, but I have nothing to do with what you're doing.
With y'all situation.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I mean, I found all this out later, but I couldn't understand why she could. I'm like, what is wrong with you? Like,
Right.
and the way my dad raised me, I'm not fighting over no guy. Like, I'm not doing that. Like, so this particular incident, I said all that to say, I started this fight.
Okay.
The one time in my life where I actually started, I'm supposed to be on my way home to my dad's in Parkside at 6 o'clock. I'm with my two friends, Lee and Nav.
Shout out to Leonard.
And we go to the store, the Poppy store right around the corner from my grandma's house, right on 4th and West, from that, right across from that park. And I go in the store, she's in there.
Oh boy.
So I'm like, I should punch her in her face. Like, mind you, I was supposed to be home an hour ago.
Okay.
Let's just start with that. I ain't even supposed to be down there. I'm like, I should punch her in her face. Like, I just kept mushing her and I never did this before. I'd be like, are we doing this today? Normally, I'd be like, are we doing this today? I don't feel like it. Like, you know, yeah, you know what it is, you know.
Right.
So this particular time, I was basically taunting her in the store. I totally forgot that her older sister, who was an adult, lived across the street.
Okay.
Totally forgot.
Okay.
So
It was in the moment.
I was in the moment, and I don't even know why. Like,
Right.
that wasn't what I normally did. That wasn't, you know, anything. So,
Could it have been because you was with your team?
nah, because they would be with me any of the other times.
Okay.
So it wasn't even like.
So they knew what it was.
They knew what it was too.
Got it.
So they like, hey, cool, see that go, you know, whoever.
Such and such.
Yeah, that go such and such. What you gonna do? I'm like, girl, I ain't worried about her today. So these were the people I hung with every single day.
Got it.
So they knew the history, and we were all from downtown. So they wasn't taking sides. It wasn't a taking sides thing.
Right, got it.
You know what I'm saying?
It was a personal thing between
It was
Carol and such and such.
exactly.
Got it.
So it was a
Got it.
personal thing.
Okay.
So she left out the store. I finished getting my little food or whatever, and then I came out and I saw her, and I just went over there and hit her.
Okay.
We fighting, had her on the ground, and it was like in between the car and the wheel. Had her in the middle of the thing.
Okay.
And her sister was out there.
Right.
I believe her sister handed her the knife because I was beating her up the whole time. So like, you know, I believe her sister handed her the knife.
Okay.
She stabbed me in my leg first. My leg kind of went numb. And I had on my bright orange Champion sweatshirt that was a lot of money back in the day.
Right.
And she stabbed me in my lung. I didn't.
So she stabbed you twice.
Twice.
Boom.
Boom. Yeah. I
Did it
didn't even.
hurt?
I didn't even realize it until
you didn't even know.
No, adrenaline.
Right.
That's a whole nother thing. Until Nav or Lee, I can't remember. One of them was like, they was like, yo, she bleeding. Corsi, she stabbed you. And I'm like, what? What? Like, and I looked down and there was so much blood on my orange Champion sweatshirt.
Right.
I was so mad because that sweatshirt was so expensive.
Right.
I'm sorry. I don't wear Champion now because I'm so mad. No.
So you look down, you see all this
I
blood.
see all the blood.
No pain yet.
No pain.
Okay.
Once I saw the blood, I could not breathe.
Really?
Yeah, I couldn't breathe. I was like, oh my God, oh my God.
Mind you still on top of her?
I'm still on top of her, but by now, once I stop and I'm looking, she gets up, she runs. My friends leave me. They start chasing her
Right.
to the sister's house.
Okay.
Now they busting out windows, they busting out car windows, and I'm sitting there coughing up blood
By yourself.
by myself. So I kind of like felt myself passing out. And I never forget, because prior to this, my relationship, my dad was a Christian. He was a pastor.
Okay.
So prior to this, I'm like, God, I'm good on you. You had me go through this, you had me go through that. So I was in a very interesting place.
What denomination was your dad, by the way?
He was Baptist.
Baptist, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
My mom's family is Pentecostal or non-denominational.
Got it, okay.
So I have a very rich background in church, right?
Right.
But at this point, I'm like, nah, you ain't real. All y'all frauds. Like, I'm good on all y'all and all this. However, when I'm passing out, what I remember saying is, God, I'm sorry. If you save me from this, I promise you I'll serve you. So I kind of like passed out. All I remember
On a gate, on the ground?
on the ground, on the sidewalk.
Okay.
Because by this time I'm trying to walk. It's hard for me to breathe. So I'm walking, but I'm like really slow walking.
Where were you going?
My grandma lived a couple blocks down.
Okay.
Because the store's here. Then the sister lived across the street. So we're on this block, and then it's the park, and then the next block is my grandma's house.
Okay.
So I'm walking towards my grandma's house.
Why you bleeding like
while I'm bleeding. So I'm walking, and then I kind of pass out. Now, I don't say this lightly, but this is all full disclosure. I literally felt something pick me up.
Really?
I felt something pick me up, right? And I felt like it was just walking with me until I got in front of Rush. I don't know if you know Rush, Mia Anderson's husband.
Okay.
Ali.
Oh, a person?
Yeah,
Okay.
a person.
I don't.
We called him Rush
Okay.
back in the day. He was going inside of the house. I think that was either his mom's house, his house. I don't know whose house it was. Once he saw me, he was like, "Is that Carol?" He was friends with my uncle.
Okay.
Soon as he said that, I fell to the ground again. Whatever was helping me, gone now.
Okay.
Rush picked me up, put me in his car, drove me to my grandma's house, and was like, "Oh my God, she's bleeding. I don't know what to do." My grandma was yelling, "Take her to Cooper.
Right.
Take her to Cooper." He didn't know what to do.
The
Like
hospital, right,
he like, "Somebody come meet me there. I don't know no information." Like,
Okay.
you know what I'm
So he
saying?
panicking too?
He panicking too. Mind you, I'm bleeding all over his back seat. Like.
Right.
But Cooper was only because my grandma lived on Benson. She lived 3 blocks down from Cooper. So
the hospital, right.
yeah. So as he went to my grandma's, she said, "Take her to the hospital. We'll meet you there." So he took me right to Cooper.
Okay.
I had emergency surgery. I had the tube because my lungs had collapsed. The doctor said, "We don't know how you are alive right now."
Wow.
Like I had blood bleeding through my mouth. They were like, "We don't understand how you're breathing, like
Okay.
how you're alive."
I want to say this and get it on video and on record. I always admired you growing up. After this happened,
Right.
because I knew who you were before it happened. I knew what happened, but I never knew specifically what happened until right now at this moment. I saw the change that you made in high school. You became a completely different person than who you were.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I never saw that happen before.
Yeah.
I want you to know I always respected you for that. Even in our computer science class, Mr. Dalia.
Yeah.
You had this class first and I had them after you, so it would overlap.
Yeah.
And I would see you in there. And I would be the one that always would bother you, like,
Yeah.
Cool C. Like, I remember the Cool
Yeah.
C days, they long gone.
Yeah.
Like, this woman is a completely
Yeah.
different person. You don't see that happen often.
Yeah.
Like, wow. I was always, like, I never told you as a kid,
Yeah.
but I always respected you and was fascinated by your story
Yeah.
and how it actually changed the person that you were.
Yeah. Definitely changed. It didn't happen right away though. After the stabbing, that was 8th grade. You didn't start to see the change till 10th grade.
That's true.
Right? So 8th grade, of course, this girl now moves. She had to move.
Right.
Because my family
Was on her.
not only were they on her, they were on her family. Like it was crazy.
Right.
So I had a lot of I was going to get her back. Even though I made that promise to God,
Right.
all right, let me do this real quick and then I'll be
The
back.
hood in you was
Yeah, like,
oh, I'm on her ass.
yeah. No, seriously.
Right.
God, I know you saved me and I said I'll do this and I really am, but let me get her real quick. Like, when I see her on sight, it's a wrap.
No talking.
No talking, and I'm going to stab her back.
Ah,
Like, I was very...
that was your mindset.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
And I ain't never say it, except to the two Lee and Nav. They already knew. I said, I'm telling y'all now I'm going to jail. Like, that's just what it's going to be. And I'm prepared to do this time for whatever. But ain't no way she great walk around while I'm still can't even hardly breathe. Like,
Got it.
so I was very intentional with it. But I will say that God always dealt with me in dreams, even from when I was a little girl.
Okay.
Like, I've always been in tune with the spiritual life. I just didn't have the right coaching to understand what was happening.
Okay.
You know how some people like, oh, psychics is fake and they don't have no dreams or they can't see into things. I'm telling you now, as a pastor, as a prophetic intercessor, and I have always seen things from when I was a little girl.
Okay.
So I had a dream, 9th grade summer, that she moved back.
Okay.
And in the dream, we fought again. I stabbed her up. I killed her.
Right.
In
That's
the dream.
What I was going to say a couple of seconds ago.
In the
Right.
dream.
Right.
In a dream.
Okay.
I had a dream that I stabbed her up and I killed her.
Okay.
And myself, being as though I was so big and bad, right?
Right.
I went to the funeral.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Went to the funeral.
That's gangster.
When I got up to the casket, it was me
Really?
in the casket.
Oh, wow.
It was me. It was me. And I woke up immediately and was like, God, I'm sorry.
Okay.
That's when the change happened.
Okay.
That's when the change happened. I said, I made you this promise. You spared my life.
Right.
You now are showing me what's going to happen if I continue down this vengeance
Right.
path.
Okay.
So that's when you saw the change. I committed to it. That next year she came back. The next year she came back to Camden High.
In real life?
In real life.
Okay.
The first time we saw each other, you know, the ramp. We in the ramp. She down one end, I'm down the other. She saw me, took off running.
Really?
I chased her down. You know I'm fast. So
Right.
chased her down. And I went to her and I was like, stop. I'm not going to hurt you. I'm not going to fight you. Like, because it was a big deal when she came back. Everybody was like, oh my God, you know she back. You know she back.
Right.
Like, everybody knew on sight. Like,
Right.
chased her down. And I was like, I'm not going to hurt you. I'm not going to hurt you. So finally, I caught up to her. And I was like, I just want to say thank you. So she was like, what? I said, no, I really just want to say thank you. I know it don't make sense. I said, but you changed my life forever. Like, I don't think that I would have made this drastic change if all of this didn't happen. Like, all of this mattered. It made me who I am today. And it made me, and she was just standing there like,
Confused.
confused.
You'll be the first person to tell somebody it is not cool to get stabbed.
No, it's absolutely not cool. It's not cool to bully. That was my very first time that I can remember, right?
Right.
My very first time starting a fight. I can't even remember, because I got along with everybody. So like, unless it was something where, you know, down to, I ain't gonna let you jump my friend, like, you know, something like that. But just in general, I kind of got along with everybody. So for me to start that, I really don't even know what that was about. Like, honestly, like, yo, what are you doing? Like, this is not even who you are. All of my fights were really because of my sister and my cousin.
What did you go through when you were home? When you got home and it's like all the hooplas died down, the calls stopped?
I was angry.
Okay.
I was very angry and I wanted vengeance.
Okay.
I lived, breathed, and slept vengeance.
Okay.
Oh, I'm going to get you back. That's what, like, literally. And I did start going to church with my dad, because I'm like, okay, I can't explain this angel picking me up.
Were you as mad as on month 1 as you were on like month 15?
So month 15, I think I was more mad.
Really?
Yeah.
Because you couldn't find her?
Because I couldn't find her. No, seriously.
It's not even funny.
Like, I was like, so you really just gonna do this and leave?
Right.
Like, so you not even,
So the anger built up.
The anger built up. And I believe that's why God had to deal with me so drastically in my dream. I remember sitting on the ledge and they was like, yeah, we about to take this walk, we about to smoke. I was like, oh, I don't smoke no more. Literally, I was just smoking yesterday. And they was like, no, seriously.
Right, you was just with them.
And they was like, what you mean you don't smoke? I said, I don't smoke no more. They was like, you was just smoking yesterday. I was like, yeah, and I'm not smoking no more. Like,
right.
And they was like, whatever, all right. So a couple days went by, they keep asking me, no, not doing it. And so they like, yo, she really don't, no, I don't. I told y'all I'm done. Like, it never controlled me. I did it just to cope with stuff, if that makes sense. Like,
okay.
I don't need this. I don't feel like it no more. Like, my personality is really all or nothing with anything that I do.
Got it.
If I'm going to say I'm doing this, then I'm doing this with 100% or I'm not doing it at all.
Okay.
And I think that's my personality in general. So if I'm your friend, I'm going to be loyal to the end. Like, if I'm married to you, I'm committed to you. If if I'm saying I'm giving up my life, then I'm giving up my life. I can't do both. I don't know how to do both. So
you made the commitment to stop doing
everything.
Things
Stop cussing. Stop everything. I was like, I don't want to do this no more.
You became like the ultimate good girl.
I mean, no, because I still had a lot of trauma to work through. So my attitude still wasn't good. Like, I still had to work on forgiveness. I still had to work on those inner things that most people shy away from.
Right.
So the outward appearance, the things that I just stopped was immediate. But it was a lot of work that had to go into the inner part of the healing. Spending days where I was hungry and, the stabbing and just talking to kids. All of that has made me who I am. It all contributes to even my job, working with children.
And you said you work for DC,
DCP&P.
What is that?
That's
mean?
the old DIFUS.
Okay. What is
So,
that?
Yes. So that is the Division of Child Protection and Permanency. That's the kid. I deal with families where neglect or abuse have happened, or parents who may be dealing with substance abuse. My relationship with parents.
Wait. That's interesting. That's what you became in life.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So what's your actual
I work for
No, what's your actual profession? Like, are you a caseworker?
I am.
You are?
I am.
Wow. So you became that.
I became
Your
that.
childhood directly reflected on who you are as an adult.
Directly.
Wow.
Directly. Mm-hmm.
So you rescue kids who've run away?
All of that. I work in the adoption unit.
Okay.
But I haven't always been in the adoption unit. Permanency is where I thrived. So the permanency unit was me going in. It's after the intake, after the initial removal, or after the initial contact with us coming in to do service. Then they hand your case to permanency, right?
Oh, okay.
This is when I get in. I work with the parents. I set them up. My ability to be transparent. I'm from where you from.
Right.
Ain't nothing you great tell me that I ain't seen or experienced. Nothing.
So nothing has ever surprised you?
Nothing.
Shocked you?
Nothing.
Okay.
And I'm able to say, if I'm able to get it together, if people, then you can. The excuses with me was very slim to none. That's why I had such a success rate.
Okay.
On my cases.
Okay.
They were able to relate.
Right.
They were able to feel not judged.
Okay.
Right?
Right.
It's not the man coming in. It's the girl who used to live down the street coming in and telling me, get your stuff together.
This is amazing. Given everything you know now and everything you experience and the woman you are today, if you could go back and talk to a younger version of you right now, I want you to pick the age, and what would you say to her?
I would go back to maybe 3 or 4.
Really? 4-year-old Carol. What would you say to her?
It's not your fault. I with my mom's addiction, I thought it was me, thought that I could do things to help her. I wasn't a good enough child. I wasn't a smart enough child. because you were there for them, but you weren't there for me. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yes.
yeah, I would say it's not your fault. Yeah.
Got it. Got it. Carolyn, we appreciate you for being here. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.